After 5 weeks of preparation or retreat, we now enter the climax of the Lenten season, which we call the Holy Week. This week sees the climax of the mission of Jesus Christ, in which the deepest meaning of his life is unfolded through his obedience to the Father, and in which his teaching of love is proven in his own words and actions. We know the end of the story quite well, and what is to come. Because of that, we sing with even greater conviction about the greatness of Jesus and a realization of just why he is our King. From this Palm Sunday to the coming of Easter Sunday, we have so much to reflect on in order to realize once again the beauty and even the practicality of our allegiance to Jesus Christ. Uniting our pain and woundedness with the different segments of Christ's ultimate sacrifice will make those wounds of ours meaningful and also salvific, rendering ourselves as genuine gifts from God to our family, to our city, and to our nation. So again, this Holy Week, we will enter into the experience of Jesus having the last meal with his disciples. It was not some sort of a happy despedida, but a voluntary step into the doorstep of Calvary. We will also recall later, after the Last Supper, how Jesus would struggle with fear, perhaps even terror, and loneliness in the garden, ending in a sense of peace and acceptance. We will remember Peter's denial of ever having known Jesus, the same Jesus with whom he had been eating and who had invited him into the garden. We will recall the kiss of Judas, another disciple, sealing the fate of Jesus and leading to bitter remorse and suicide. On Thursday, we will hear again the rigged trial before the religious leaders and again before the contemptuous, cynical Pilate, the brief appearance before the superstitious and fearful Herod. We will recall the torture, humiliation, and degradation of Jesus. We will try to dramatize within us the way of Calvary, the weeping women, the reluctant Simon of Cyrene. We will remember how the crowds, so supportive on Palm Sunday, who laugh and mock at him, yelling that he should be crucified. Then, despite all betrayals, we would see how the murderous gangster would be promised eternal happiness. That very day, upon discovery that Jesus was really God, in so being lowly accepting death, even death on the cross. Finally, we would recall the last words of forgiveness to those who crucified him and his total surrender to the Father, who looked so distant at that very hour of his need. Christ's promise of paradise to the murderous gangster, his total self-abandonment to the God who executed criminals. It proved not only that he was innocent, but that also he was really God. So as we go through this day and this week, we watch not just to admire, but also to learn. Let us try to penetrate the mind, the thinking, the attitudes, and the values of Jesus, so that we, in the very difficult circumstances of our own lives, perhaps where we are now all together, we may be renewed and walk in His footsteps. Let me be clear, this is not at all a call for us to a life of pain and misery. Quite the contrary. It is only an affirmation of what you must already have been experiencing since not quite long ago, that once you follow Christ, offering yourself as a gift to your family and to your nation, you shall experience the much sought quality of life, a life of deep freedom, which is already away from fear, a life of concrete peace that allows you to have a restful sleep and genuine happiness, not determined by inordinate desire for applause, material reward, and power. Pagpalain po kayo ng isang makahulugang mga mahal na araw 2020, kakaiba, subalit napakabunga.
Tayong lahat ay tinipon ng Diyos na